in another episode of the Aquarium's Online Academy. My name is Kaya, and I am coming to you live from the Aquarium of the Pacific. And this morning, we get to talk about one of my favorite animals here at the aquarium. Do you know what we're going to be talking about today? It has 8 legs, and they are known for camouflaging. That's right, we are going to be talking all about octopus. So I hope you're excited to learn with me. And here we have a great view already of an octopus hiding, doing one of the things it does best. Now, I would love to hear from you if you have any questions or observations that you would like to share while you're watching. You can text us live at 562-286-1838. I have my coworker Erin in the studio here with me. You can also just say hi to her and let her know that you are watching. And if you are not watching this live, you're always welcome to email us questions at live@lbaop.org, and one of our education team will get back to you about that. Now let's go ahead and start thinking about these amazing animals. What do you notice? Oh, perfect. Let's take a look at one of our octopus here. Ooh, I'm noticing I see lots of spots here, and oh, it's starting to move, my friends. Ooh, do you see all of these arms and suction cups moving? Is this our day octopus? Yeah, this is our day octopus dumpling, everyone. And this is a great view to get us started thinking about what type of animal octopus are. So when we think about the group that octopus belong to, are they fish? No, right? Are they mammals like a whale or a seal? No. Octopus are a part of a group of animals called cephalopods, which might seem like a really big word, but all it means is that they have their feet attached to their head here. And if we zoom out even further, octopus are a part of a larger group of animals called invertebrates. And if you're not sure what that word is, go ahead and touch your spine really quickly. You might notice there are some bumps there. Those are your vertebrae. So we are considered vertebrates because we have that spine. Animals like octopus have no spine. And so if you were to move around a little bit like an octopus, you'll notice they kind of can wiggle around and go in lots of different directions. And like that first view that we saw, they were hiding in that crevice there. And that's because they have no bones. And I would like to say good morning to Josephine from Florida. Thanks for watching again. If you have any questions about octopus, or if you would like to share any of your favorite things, I would love to hear from you. And it looks like we also just got a question in from Mackenzie. Hi, good morning, Mackenzie, who's asking about the octopus life cycle. And this is a very interesting question, Mackenzie, because as incredible as these animals are, well, actually, because one of the reasons why they're so incredible, besides being able to camouflage and squeeze in lots of different places, they're also incredibly smart. So these are very intelligent animals as well. They are known for being problem solvers and for being escape artists if they are at places like the aquarium. Now, even though they're so intelligent, one of the trade-offs for this is having a really short lifespan. So octopus will only live for about 3 to 5 years, which in the grand scheme of all the animals in the ocean is really not a very long time. And we can see a teeny tiny baby octopus just beginning its life here. Now, female octopus, after their eggs have been fertilized, they actually will guard them for the rest of their life. They will spend all of their resources guarding those eggs. And eventually, once those their resources have run out, they'll actually die to make sure that their eggs are safe. And they will lay thousands of eggs, I want to say, depending on the species. So we'll have lots of teeny tiny little octopus just like this, who will then eventually grow into their adult, I guess, size. But they don't change. They don't transform. Like some animals, they will transition into different forms. Octopus do stay the same. They just get bigger and bigger. And I would like to say hello again to the Payne School. Hi, Thomas and Edmund. Thanks again for watching. Now, this is also a really good view. Oh, perfect. We can take a look at our giant Pacific octopus here. And this is a great view of another iconic thing that we think of with octopus, another important feature. How many arms do they have? I said this at the very beginning of our program. They have 8, which is where their name octopus comes from. And having all of these arms is super helpful for them. Can you think of different things that they might be able to do using all of their arms? Another clue is taking a look at what's on their arms here. What do you guys see there? Those are their suction cups. And if we watch closely in this video, we can see that not only are their arms able to move independently, but their suction cups are too. Now, what do you think they use those suction cups for? Why would it be helpful for them to have all of these suction cups? Now, there's a few things that they use these suction cups for. So one is to hold on to things, right? And to grab onto either maybe different rocks that they're holding onto or their prey. Now, what's amazing about these suction cups on the giant Pacific octopus is how strong they are. How strong, how much do you think one of those suction cups can pick up? How much weight do you think it can hold? Believe it or not, every single one of those suction cups can hold 10 pounds all on its own. So they are very, very strong. And if you look at how many they have all over their arms, that gives you an idea of how strong these octopus can be. So the giant Pacific octopus has about 200 suction cups per arm. So they have about 2,000. So these are very, very strong animals. And this is very helpful for when they are hunting their prey. And that's where the other amazing thing about these suction cups comes into play, is that they are not only used to hold on to things, but every single one of these suction cups can sense and taste and smell things. So it also helps them find their food. And I see that Edmund was thinking the exact same thing. Edmund was thinking the arms are to eat. Thomas, you were thinking that they use their arms to climb. And that is exactly right. We can see that that is what our octopus is doing here. So as the octopus is moving each of those suction cups, it's tasting and smelling and saying, maybe I want to go over here, or maybe there's something over here I want. And that's another amazing thing about their arms is that they can all move independently from one another, and they actually have the ability to sort of process the world around them. Sometimes people think of them having their brains in their arms, and that's not exactly how we should think about it, but they do have neurons in their arms, which allow them to process information. And so as they're smelling and sensing, they might notice there's something over here, and then maybe their other one is over here, and they're able to decide which way they want to go or how to catch their prey. Now, Donovan is wondering, how many species of octopus are there? And that's a really great question. There are about 300 species, Donovan, and they are found all over the world in temperate and tropical regions. And this is a great view at how our octopus is able to camouflage. And we should probably talk about that next, since that is a pretty important thing that octopus are known for. And Angeli is wondering, how do they catch fish? And that's a really great question, Angeli, because fish are very, very fast. And one thing about these octopus, they're good at a lot of things, but they're not the best at swimming. That is not what their body is designed for. So they have, this is what we call the mantle here. And it looks like the head, which is where they got their name from. But this mantle actually has all of their organs in there, not just their brains, their heart and everything. Now, in that first video that we watched, you might have noticed how they were moving around. So they move by jet propulsion. So they suck water into their mantle here, and then they push it out of their siphon. So they are able to move just like this. So we can see our day octopus here, or actually another type of octopus is doing that. And now we can see it's also shooting out ink, another thing that octopus are known for, and hiding in the reef there. Now, Angeli, as this octopus is hiding, it's going to start to blend in. It's going to start to change its skin and texture, the color and texture of its skin, to blend into this reef. Now, while it's hiding, there might be some fish that swim by and they have no idea an octopus is there. And remember, with all of those arms and suction cups, they're able to smell things coming by, and they might go and snatch a fish that is swimming. This is what we would call an ambush predator, and that is because they lay in wait for something to come near them, and then they are able to grab it really, really quickly. We might have a video actually of another relative of the octopus that is hunting. I don't know if we're able to pull that up, but one of my favorite relatives is called a cuttlefish. And they are not called cuttlefish because they're super cuddly, although I would really love to cuddle them. It's because of a structure that they have in their body that gives them structure. It's called a cuttle bone, and that's what their body to sort of, it's centered around that. So here is our cuttlefish. What did you guys see? Okay, let's watch again. Oh no, we have a crab. And what do you guys see the cuttlefish doing? Is it staying the same color or is something going on? Amazing. So this is showing us a few different things. One, that octopus are not the only animals in the ocean or in this family that are able to change color. So cuttlefish as well. And here's a great look at a cuttlefish. Now, if we're thinking about, well, how are these cuttles and octopus related? If I were to just find this in the ocean, how would I know? Do you guys notice anything similar between them? So one thing I'm noticing is this right here. Right? So that's the mantle, which the octopus have as well. And then what about these? These are their arms, which are also covered in little suction cups. Now, while we were watching that cuttlefish hunt, it shot out its tentacles and snatched up that food. And so even though octopus don't have those tentacles, that is very similar to how they hunt. And often when we think of color changing, we usually think of it as a camouflage, which is very, very helpful for because they can change, you can see even here, they can change their texture and their color. But if you notice when that cuttlefish was hunting, it was flashing, right? So that was not trying to hide. That was actually more of a, I'm coming to get you, or just indicating that it was excited about something. So color change can also be a form of communication, not only hiding. Okay, great. And we have a great camouflage video to watch. So take a look at this octopus, and I want you to pay attention. What color is it? What texture is it? What shape is it making? Oh, wow. What a dramatic change from the beginning. Let's watch that again, and let's break that down a little bit more. Oh, and we can even see it start to change back again. Okay, so it starts off smooth and a dark red. Now it's starting to settle down. You can see it moving its arms out, and then boof, it starts to put all of these different bumps out, and it's changing its color to be more mottled like the reef. And oh, maybe it's changing its mind and it wants to be red instead. So how is the octopus able to do this? I've been bringing this up a couple of times, all of this camouflage. So octopus and cuttlefish, they're also, in that same family of cephalopods, have very special skin cells. So what you see here are called chromatophores, which are able to sort of open and close as they want with different colors. So the way I think of it, and this is them flashing. So this is actually a squid's chromatophores, but it gives you an idea of how octopus and cuttlefish can do this, because these squid don't have as many chromatophores as some of these octopus and cuttlefish do. Now, the way I think of it, though, these skin cells with the color, I think of it like a balloon full of color. And what happens when you squeeze that balloon? All that color would come to the top, right? And then that's what's going to be visible. And then they maybe change their mind and they're going to release it, and they might choose another color as well. Instead. Now, the other thing that we noticed, though, in that video was that they were changing their texture, too. So they have something else besides those chromatophores. They have special skin cells that are able to adjust the texture, and those are separate. So they are able to make themselves bumpy or spiky or smooth as well. And you saw how fast they did it. Oh, another great example. Did you guys see that octopus there? And now we can see it swimming away all smooth. And you can also sort of see not exactly the most, surprise, not the best swimmers, but are excellent camouflagers. All right, now we did have a few questions come in about the octopus anatomy. So Jasmine is wondering, how many hearts and how many stomachs do they have? So you maybe are aware that they maybe have a different number of hearts than us, and that is absolutely right. So octopus have 3 hearts, and I believe all cephalopods do as well. So they're really unique in this way because we have that 1 heart, and their hearts, they have 3 smaller hearts. But you're also wondering how many stomachs they have, and they only have 1 stomach, just like us. So all of that food they eat only goes to one place. These are not like our moon jelly friends that have multiple, or jelly friends that have multiple stomachs. Now, I saw another question from Camilla and Amy, and they're wondering if they make sounds. What a great question, because we were just actually in our previous class, if you were watching, learning all about the sounds that animals make. But to my knowledge, let's think about what these octopus have that they could use to make sounds. So the only hard part of their body is their beak. And that's what they use to crunch their food if they're eating something with a hard outside, but that's it. So as far as I know, octopus do not produce any sound themselves, but you might hear them if they're moving really, really fast, moving through the water, or if they are expelling that ink, right? So that ink, again, they would push out if they're scared, and there might be a sound when that comes out, and that comes out of their siphon. But other than that, I don't believe any octopus makes sounds. Good question. And hi, Santiago. Santiago wants to know about the biggest octopus. And I would love to tell you about the biggest octopus, which is what we were looking at here. This is the underside of it. And this is the giant Pacific octopus. And we are lucky enough to have one here at the aquarium. Now, ours is still pretty young. I think the last time that he was weighed, he was about 20 pounds. And he can get up to 600 pounds, which is the largest giant Pacific octopus that's been recorded. And their size, besides their weight, is they can be up to 30 feet across from arm to arm. So if you just step out and look arm to arm and look at how long that is, it's probably about 3, maybe 5 feet, depending on how tall you are. Probably more like 3. Anyways, but a giant Pacific octopus can be up to 30 feet long. So that is a really huge octopus. Now, these octopus are found, on the Pacific coast, which is why we call them the giant Pacific octopus. But if you are here watching in Southern California, they don't tend to be in our waters. They tend to be further north. They like it where it's really, really cold. They like their water to be much, much colder, and they tend to be found in deeper waters. So not as often are they found near us, but they are not found far. And I know something about our giant Pacific octopus is, and actually all of our octopus here, is they really like their enrichment when they get fed. Something I haven't talked about too much is their intelligence, but that is something that octopus are known for. So something that we do here at the aquarium is we like to make it a little bit more fun for them to get their food. So go ahead, take a look. This is Godzilla. It looks like to me, what do you notice Godzilla doing? Is Godzilla changing at all? Ooh, I'm noticing some color and pattern change. And what do you guys see here? Is that just a toy for him to play with, or is there something else? Can you see that? That, my friends, is a crab. Or in other words, that's Godzilla's breakfast. Oh, so remember we talked about how they can smell with their arms. And we had that question about how they catch fish. Well, this is how they catch a crab. So it's testing it out with its suction cups. And it's starting to hold on. Oh, and there it goes. Godzilla got its snack. So giving our animals special or fun ways, different ways to get their food helps enrich their lives. So that makes it more interesting for them. They have puzzles to figure out, and these are hunters. So instead of just giving them their food, it's a little bit more interesting for them to have to figure it out. And it does look like Godzilla got that snack there. No surprises. So Josephine is wondering, how does it make ink and how does it spray it? So octopus just sort of naturally produce that ink. They have a special place in their body for it. And the thing is it's dark like we saw, but it's also kind of like a mucus. So if you've ever had a cold or ever need to blow your nose, I know it's kind of gross, but that can help you think about what the ink texture is like. So it's really dark and it's also really sort of gooey. And we can watch here in this video how the octopus sprays it out. Maybe, I don't know if you could see that very well. So just like when they're moving and they push the water out of their siphon, they push that ink out of their siphon as well. And if we want to take maybe a still look, and I can point out what the siphon is, it looks kind of like a little tube that is on the side of the octopus. Oh, wow, what a great view. So this is the siphon up close, and this is the mantle, again, like I mentioned earlier. And this octopus, to me, does not look like it's moving, but this is how they breathe as well. So octopus do have gills on the inside of their body. It's a little bit different than fish gills, but they do have them on the inside. So they pull water into their mantle here, which goes over their gills, gives them that oxygen, and then they push it out of the siphon. And that's also how they push that ink out. So it's a very useful part of their body. Now, this is such a close-up view. I have to talk about this here. What do you notice there, my friends? Does that eye look like our eye or other animal eyes you've seen? Does it look a little bit different to you? So octopus are also known for their eyes because the pupil is a very different shape. It's like a rectangle. And the reason I'm bringing up their eyesight is because octopus have incredible eyesight. So if we think about the way that they're able to blend in and camouflage to all of these different places, being able to see and sense the world around them is very, very important. But they do see a little bit differently than us. They actually take in a lot of light. So their eye functions a little differently, but they're able to see a lot more color than we can. And that is one of the reasons they are able to so quickly blend into their surroundings. All right, so I want to talk a little bit more about their training or maybe their intelligence. So we watched that one octopus get food out of the boat. I believe we also have given our octopus some food in an actual puzzle that they need to figure out. So again, this is to help stimulate them. And I mentioned that they have all of those neurons in their arms, and that is something that helps them process and think. So when we're watching them move around, they are processing and thinking with those arms. And that's why we love to give them food and special, oh, here's another look at Godzilla, who looks very, very different than he looked before. Do you guys notice all of the texture and the different colors that he has? So giant Pacific octopus are not known for their color range, unlike some tropical octopus species. So they tend to be a darker red color, and then they'll bring out this white as well. But other than that, they don't really do too much. And if we think about their environment, they don't really need to. So some species of octopus live in very bright, colorful, and textured areas. So having that wide range is going to be very important. But our giant Pacific octopus have a different type of habitat. It's darker, there's not as much to blend in for, and they also really rely on their size to catch their food. Oh, and we got a great look at those suction cups moving around. And have you been wondering where its mouth is? Its mouth is right in there. Now, we've been looking at a lot of octopus, but maybe we can look at some of their other relatives in our last few minutes, because I happen to actually be a bigger fan of our cuttlefish. So I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about them and why they're so awesome. So again, here's a look at our cuttlefish. And if we look at those similarities, we can see they both have the eyes, they've got their arms here, and then they have their mantle. Now, if you remember from that video that we were watching of them hunting and catching their food, their color change was really different than the octopus color change that we saw earlier. So cuttlefish tend to use their color change as more of a form of communication than camouflage. Now, unlike octopus, they also don't have the ability to mold themselves into all of the different crevices that octopus can. And that is, again, because of their mantle here and then the structure that they have called the cuttle bone. So if we watch cuttlefish swim, they use the fin. You might also be thinking, is that a squid, Miss Kaya? That looks kind of like a squid. And it does. They are often confused with squid, and sometimes they actually have names with squid in them, like the pajama squid, which is actually a cuttlefish, and that can be kind of confusing. But the way to tell is by the movement. So remember I talked about octopus moving through jet propulsion? Well, cuttlefish don't do that. Instead, they have little fins around their mantle that they use. And we can see those here as well. And while we're taking a look at this picture, I also want you to notice the shape of that pupil because it is different than the octopus pupil, right? So they have a W shape, which is pretty cool, I think. And that's different than what a squid's pupil looks like as well. So if you are ever lucky enough to see a cuttlefish up close and you're not sure, the two things to look for are the pupil shape and then the fin around them and how they're moving. But we got some squid, so let's take a look at some squid, which also have those fins there, but they do move a little bit differently. Ooh, what kind of squid are these? These are reef squid, my friends, and we can also see some color change in them as well, I think. Just maybe not as sophisticated as the cuttlefish, but you can see that they're very, very similar looking animals. And just like the cuttlefish, they actually also have a structure in their mantle that gives them that shape. So they have what's called a pen instead, which is the remnant of their shell. So all relatives of the octopus and the cuttlefish and the squid do have shells. And actually one member of their family does still have its shell. But that's one of their adaptations, is that over time they lost that shell. And there's a trade-off there. So animals that have those shells do have that protection. However, without it, animals like cuttlefish and squid and octopus developed the ability to camouflage and blend in. And especially in the case of the octopus, who has lost any remnant of its shell, is really able to move its body to adapt to whatever area it's in. All right, friends, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about octopus this morning. If you have any last questions about them, feel free to text them in. I'd be happy to answer. What was that? Oh, yes. And if you are watching with a class, then please text us the numbers of students that were watching with you so we could keep track. Again, that number is 562-286-1838. Thanks again for tuning in to our Aquarium Online Academy. You can see us again on Wednesday at 9 and 10 a.m. And our 10 a.m. program is in Spanish, so feel free to spread the word if you have any Spanish-speaking learners. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching us this morning and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.